Welcome back to Break Check. It is episode 30. We are coming to you right after the Singapore Grand Prix, a weird Grand Prix with a Red Bull win, not who we thought the championship lives on another day to be secured. Ferrari double podium. Like always, we'll get into our thoughts on the race. But first, we got to ask, Megan, how was your weekend? And then we'll get into our news.
Yeah, my weekend was great. The weather's been beautiful in London. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to be raining still, but it was actually supposed to rain a lot today, and it was actually in the mid high 60s and sunny. So it's been very chill. My roommate and I went to Canterbury on Friday. I don't have courses on Friday, so it's kind of like a nice day to go out and see something new.
Yeah.
So we went this cute little old town, very quintessential UK, I would say, if you're like picturing old
Yeah,
cottages and
yeah.
just old shit, but you could see it all in like 4 hours. So we weren't there too long.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. No,
Yeah. How
I
about you?
this weekend was fun. Our move is finally starting to ramp down a little bit.
Okay.
We're picking up furniture, setting stuff up. My office is still not set up. The
No.
I showed Megan the other side of my laptop the other day. There's still stuff everywhere, but it's at least a little organized. I'm gonna try and set up my desk today. I'm still on a bar stool. Um, but I did want to give a shout out to my girlfriend Jen. Me, her, and two of my friends, Mike and Connor. We went karting yesterday,
Oh,
and
sick.
yeah, so it was Jen's first time on the gas carts. And I may have mentioned when we've gone indoor electric karting, she's pretty quick.
She's good. Yeah.
Yesterday, she finished with the fastest lap time out of all of us.
Hell yeah. That's
She got
awesome.
me. Yeah, so it was pretty cold. I actually no, I'll get into this too. I My second race, I didn't really get to race a ton. There was a guy who was pretty fast. He was about as fast as I am. And like, I mean, not to toot my own horn. I'm pretty quick on the carts. I can get around the track pretty fast. So he was about as fast as me on the straights and like the turns, kind of the wider turns. He was about as fast as me. But he could not get around me on the chicanes because I get through the chicane pretty fast. So on the straight, he would catch up to me. He also weighs a lot less than me. So straight line on the cart, he was just faster, but
Mhm.
he wouldn't brake. And he kept slamming into my cart at full speed after
Oh
the
man.
long straightaway. And he did it so hard that he popped my back left tire. And
Oh
I had to get off the
no.
track. Yeah. And they gave him like a warning and they were like
Mhm.
monitoring the rest of the night, but I didn't really get to race the second time around. But in the third race, because they gave me a new cart, the tires were really cold. I couldn't get any traction.
Mm.
And Jen got me. She actually ran a faster lap time than me. She was directly behind me the whole time, and she ran a faster lap time than me without ever passing me. So she had a
Wow.
crazy line going. Yeah.
That's sick. Good for her.
Yeah, so I wanted to give her a shout out. You know, she's pretty quick on the carts.
I mean, yeah, when we were racing indoors before I moved,
Mhm.
she was always just creeping up there, or like she passed me a few
Yeah.
times for sure. So
Yeah, Jen, if you're listening, we're going back before it closes for this season, just so I can take back my title. But it was crazy how much the cold, because it was chillier now. It's October. My
hmm.
fastest lap time ever, 49.5. I think the fastest I ran yesterday was 50.7. The tires were so cold. It was
Oh, I'm
crazy.
sure. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun though. Oh, man, I want to go again when I'm back, but I'll only be back for like 3 or 4 weeks. So it's like I
Hey,
have to,
we could
it's
try to
not
squeeze it
bad, but
in. Yeah.
yeah, it's holiday
Um,
season, but that's fine.
Yeah,
So
I will be doing a 1 hour long endurance race at the end of October. So I will report back with how that goes.
yeah, yeah, maybe get some footage or something. We can
Yeah,
post it
yeah.
on socials. Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right.
Sorry if you hear that.
I'm not cutting it out. So
Okay,
I'm
cool.
gonna let the listeners find out that Megan lives next to a train. And every 7 minutes I have to cut it out of the audio.
This is what happens when you tour an apartment without actually seeing it in person. I will say we lucked out in every other aspect of this apartment. It is stunning. It is 10,000 times better than anywhere I lived in New York City or when I was back in Wisconsin in school. But we were like, oh, this is wonderful when we moved in. And then all of a sudden you hear da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's just like a train. And I'm not kidding. You can see this train go by every 7 minutes. It is so close. Like just they could see probably like if you were on that train and looked outside, you could see us, like that's we were right there. So
Well, it's good to know you have reliable transit by your
mhm,
house. Yeah.
it helps, especially in a city like this. So we lucked out
Yeah.
that way, but
But yeah,
it's
that was
white
my
noise now.
weekend. Oh yeah, white
Yeah.
noise. Yeah, background. ASMR trains. But yeah, that was my weekend. Super fun. Got to see some friends today. Watched the F1 race. I was up early for it. And then it was delayed
Sucks.
by an hour. I couldn't fall back asleep because I had already had my coffee.
Oh
Uh
no.
yeah, so we're gonna relax, gonna do a little bit more setting up of the apartment, watch the Bears. But I see you're
Mhm.
wearing your Danny Rick merch.
I am. Thank you. I was going to notice it. It was perfect timing for his
Yeah.
P5 today. This is his Enchante, his newest edition. I'm not sponsored or anything unless Danny listen and you want to send some cool merch. But
Hmm.
no, this is it has the lemons in the background, or not
Okay,
in the
cool.
background, in the back. It's pretty cool. Big fan.
Hmm. I want to get some Danny Rick merch. I'm a big fan
His
of
is my
his. So
favorite, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of the drivers don't have any or like haven't done much. I think if Vettel or Albon or something had their own like
Hmm.
I don't know, own stuff, I think I would probably look into it, but I don't know.
I
Not a
can't
lot of
get
them do their own
myself.
thing.
I can't get myself to get Lewis Hamilton merch because it's all like bright yellow, like
Yeah, he's got
electric.
a
Yeah, it's like electric yellow or like deep purple.
yeah, truly, it's all like that thick purple
Hmm.
color, which is it's not bad, but I mean it's not an everyday, I don't
Oh
know,
yeah.
especially for one that wears like usually black t-shirts.
I wore my mint colored hoodie today, which looks very
Nice.
reflective off the light.
I thought it was white until you said mint. So
Yeah, it's if oh that looks more white. Never mind.
mm, I
Um,
can see the hues. Yeah. It's
GQ, call us.
yeah.
This is now a fashion. This is a athleisure fashion podcast.
Mhm.
Um, with all that out of the way, do you want
Mhm.
to lead us into some news?
Yes. We don't have too much news. Briefly, of course, we saw George took a power unit, so he started a what is it? Pit
From the pit
lane.
lane.
I was like this.
Uh-huh.
He started a pit lane. Ended up what P14 or something out of 14
He came in last,
people.
yeah.
Yeah. So pretty unfortunate for him, but we'll get into that. And then it's also more rumors kind of came out about who is going to be taking an Alpine seat. It looks like it is pretty much confirmed that Nick De Vries will be moving to AlphaTauri, which will then push Pierre into that Alpine seat, which I kind of figured would happen. Um, I did kind of think Nick was going to go to Williams, but I am excited to see how he does at AlphaTauri. That also means there's still a seat open at Williams. So Williams Mick is available still if you're listening. Um, and then it was also noted that Mick's performance will be evaluated again at the Mexican Grand Prix, and it'll either be him or Hulkenberg. So he has up until then pretty much to show that he has the ability to say.
We'll get into his race today. He came in last of the non-George Russell competitors today,
I
so
mean, to be fair, he was higher until Russell hit him. So
all right, yeah. Hey, you Robin's racing. This was a weird race in the midfield, backfield, everywhere.
yeah,
Is there any other news before you want to get into the race?
that was pretty much it. I know Daniel's in talks of being a reserve driver, possibly for Mercedes or back at Red Bull for next year.
Yeah,
Kind of sad. But I think I think a year out would be good for him. I just hope he would come back if he were to take a year off.
yeah.
But
I
that's
think
all the news I have.
as long as he's the reserve at like Mercedes or Red Bull, I think it's okay. I think going to be
Mhm.
the reserve driver for like Alfa Romeo, it's like all right, man, give it up.
Let it go.
Yeah, we can get into the race recap. Fernando Alonso's 350th race start, most all
Hmm.
time, past Kimi Räikkönen, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like we were going to be in for, and it was a wet and wild Singapore Grand Prix, but we thought we were going to get a rainy one. Once again, the F1 wet tires rendered useless. They didn't use them.
It's
Uh,
like why have them, you know?
what's the point?
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. And I think Juan and I were talking about this a little bit for not being the biggest Alonso fans. We were both pretty devastated to see him have to end the race because of his engine. Both Alpines had engine issues today,
Mhm.
sadly. But yeah, it was kind of crazy to see that he's been racing for 350 of them and doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. So more power to him.
Yeah, I would say Lewis might break the record, but if Fernando keeps going, I mean, he
That's
might
going to be
not.
hard to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, tough day for Alpine with the double DNF, Ocon also out, but good day for McLaren. We could start with these two teams,
Mhm.
their little battle they have going on.
Yeah, I mean, McLaren now they scored 22 points this race, which put them 4 points above Alpine. Juan, do you think that they can keep this lead against Alpine?
Yes, I think that they can. I think if they get Daniel Ricciardo to at least have a pulse, I think that I think they'll score enough points to hold off Alpine. Alpine much faster and much better of a car, but much more unreliable. I mean, the thing is
Right.
blowing up every other race. So
Yeah, and Ocon just also didn't have a good weekend. I think Ocon isn't the most reliable of all drivers. So they do have Alonso, and I think Alonso, even him and Norris today were pretty neck and neck
yeah,
all day. So I think yeah, you've kind of got the Norris and Alonso who are pretty consistent here, and it's the wild cards of Daniel and Ocon and each week how they're going to perform, and I think that's what's going to make a difference, other than Alpine's unreliability.
I agree. Also, something to keep in mind: the Alpines will fight each other quite a bit. I do not think the McLarens will be doing that.
No, no.
Oh,
uh, go on.
spicy rumor that we don't have to get too into it.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah.
Pierre and Ocon hate each other. I don't know why Pierre hates Ocon, but Ocon hates Pierre because Pierre took his girl like 10 years ago.
Which is also so hang on, there's another train. Is it like loud enough where you can't hear me?
I think you could just keep going.
Just keep going.
Some I hear more than others, but
Okay.
this is the audio listeners official warning that every 7 minutes you will hear a train go by when Megan is talking.
Yeah, we're gonna roll with it. I think once I finally move into my room, when I have a desk at some point one day, I think it'll be a little bit more quiet, but I still hear it in my room, but we're just gonna roll with it. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, so and it's also very on brand for Pierre to have stolen Ocon's girlfriend, and that doesn't surprise me at all, considering he also stole the girl Lando was interested in like a 1 or 2 years ago, Katarina, I think her name was.
Well, that's
Uh
easy. One of us two
yeah.
could do it. Lando has zero game.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I guess the girl that Pierre is now talking to looks oddly similar to Lando's now ex-girlfriend. They work for the same modeling company. I in F1 Instagram, you scroll and you learn so much unwarranted information just all the time. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Hmm.
It's really, I've learned so much in the past week between the Try Guys and just
who
F1
who I was not
drama.
aware of. I did not know who the Try Guys were. I followed along with Harry Styles. I followed along with Adam Levine, but I was to be told that the Try Guys were some phenomenon that everyone knew about.
You didn't know, you had no idea who they were.
I had no clue who they were. And
I
I'm
remember
not
them.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, go, you
I was just
finish.
gonna say I'm not like BuzzFeed oblivious. Like I used to watch BuzzFeed Unsolved like pretty
Oh
regularly. So
yeah,
like
that was a great, yeah.
I was aware of BuzzFeed and like their employees and like their people, but I had never heard of the Try Guys.
They were there was like a few sections of BuzzFeed. Like there was those two guys who would go and try different food of like different price
Okay.
ranges in LA. And then the Unsolved one was really good. And then there was the Try Guys, and I remember following them for a little bit, and then I don't know, went to college and just stopped watching
Okay.
BuzzFeed stuff altogether. And then, funnily enough, when I had COVID and I was like bedridden, and just like like I couldn't
Hmm.
think, I needed just something mindless to put on, and they popped up on my recommended on you. You're on my YouTube.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just so I was just like watching all the videos. I had watched some of them before. They were kind of like, to me, they're like a comfort show where it's just like if you need
yeah,
something kind of funny, stupid, mindless to put on, like you put
yeah.
them on. So I was binging them during COVID when I had COVID. And then not even a few days later, it comes out that Ned cheated. And I was just like shocked.
Me and
I was
Megan,
totally into it.
we were talking about this. How do celebrities not think they're gonna get caught?
And you were at a Harry Styles concert where like half of the people there are Gen Z, which are probably a large portion of their viewers. So what did you think was going to happen? And then he went to a bar, and I know the bar he went to in New York City is right by NYU. So it's like a college bar. He went to a bar that's filled with college kids. They know who you are.
Yeah,
I don't know,
this is a
man.
gossip podcast now.
Yeah, we are.
um,
Fits into new news. It just doesn't have any relation to F1.
we could probably get there.
Yeah, connect the
Nah,
dots
yeah,
somehow.
I won't try. But yeah, so good battle between the midfield teams today, McLaren, Alpine. There'll be some jockeying around. I will say it does seem nice, even though he's on his way out. Alonso still seem to care about how the Alpine team finishes the year. So
Yeah, I think I don't want to say he's a team player. I don't know. I don't know how much I believe that when I say it, but I think he's matured over the
yeah,
years. So
which you'd hope to say about a 76-year-old man, you know?
yeah.
We could talk about his next year's team. Aston Martin was randomly fast today. So
They were both of them. Stroll surprised me. I was so happy to see Vettel in points again. He's like,
mhm,
what is it? The king of the night is what they're, or the night track
yeah.
or street track or whatever they're
Hmm.
calling him. Um, Great to see him doing well. I think he could have done better if his team let him. But just happy to see him finish in points this weekend.
Yeah, and we had a nice little three-way battle for 10th place between Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen. Imagine going back 3 years and telling the F1 fan that at Singapore they would be battling for 10th
Filling for
place.
10.
Yeah.
That's a great point because yeah, 2 3 years ago that would have been just people would have laughed, like no one
Yeah.
would believe that. So um yeah, weird race for Max. I don't know if you want to get
Yes.
into Red Bull.
Yeah.
Great weekend for Sergio. He seems to do really well in street tracks. And this race is another example of it.
Yeah.
He was slowing down a bit this season, so it was nice to see him kind of like pick it up. I don't know if it was either the break too that maybe helped him get him there, but he had the best start of the race. Other than I think Pierre had a great start too, but
Yeah.
as soon as he got it, he kept it on.
Something I did want to bring up. One, I think Checo's really good in street circuits because one, he's one of the best defensive drivers on the grid, and street
Mhm.
circuits are hard to pass at. So that on top of the fact that he was fast today, like he was setting fastest lap times, that was just gonna make him hard to beat. I mean, he led wire to wire essentially.
Mhm.
Something I thought was funny, and we forgot to mention this during the news. I remember it came out a couple weeks, maybe a month or so ago, when Checo was just getting destroyed by Max for like a month straight, and no one knew why. It came out that they were running different specs on the car because Red Bull could not afford to upgrade Checo's car
Mm,
on par with Max's, and everyone was like, "Okay, that makes a little more
that's
sense."
fair.
It came out that Red Bull might have gone significantly over the cost cap in 2021. Do you think that they maybe knew that report would be coming out that they allegedly went over the cost cap and they just did not upgrade Checo's car as fast as they could have to avoid any backlash when it did come out?
Oh, that's a good point.
Because
I
they
could
might have
definitely
been
see.
extra careful this year.
I'm sure they were, and I'm sure I'm sure as soon as they realized recognized that they had gone over. I don't know how over. No one knows how over. But yeah, I'm sure they're doubling down on that because whatever it is, however much they did go over, it's going to be a significant fine. It's not, I don't think it's going to impact that much. I genuinely don't think they're going to change the results or anything. I know some people think that, it's going to disqualify them. I don't think they're going to be that. It's the FIA. They care, but not that much.
No, and I don't want that
So,
either, even as like a Lewis fan. Like, no.
yeah. Personally, too, I would rather them take the penalty and have it apply to next year, something that hasn't happened yet versus things that have
Yes.
already happened and necessarily don't make a difference anymore.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. We'll see what they do. I definitely don't think they're going to apply anything to next year either, but I do think it's going to be a significant fine, whatever they pay. But that is a really good point. I wouldn't have put the two together.
Yeah, I was thinking about it earlier because I mean, at one point it came out that they were running like just completely different floors, like on the
Yeah.
cars, and
Oh, right.
it's like, all right, well, that's not even the same car anymore then. And
Yeah.
Checo was not driving well either, so I think that compounded with the car not being fully upgraded, led to some lackluster performances. But back on top, finished
Yeah.
P1. I don't think anything came of, even if he gets a 5-second time penalty for the safety car
Hope
infringement.
so.
Ferrari did not get within 5 seconds of him somehow at
No.
the end. What did you think about Ferrari's weekend?
Well, I did want to say I'm happy for Charles because his pole this race now is the most poles for Ferrari since Michael Schumacher had
Hmm.
one for Ferrari about 20 years ago. So great record for Charles to have, even if it never translates to wins,
Yeah.
which is pretty sad. But I think he did the best he could with the car he had today. I don't think, I thought that, had he gotten on slicks earlier, he would have been able to pass Perez, but just the timing of everything and the way Sergio's speed was today, it just was never going to happen. So
Yeah.
I think second was the best result he was going to get today. And it helped him having signs behind him the entire time.
Also heating up the battle for second in the World Driver Championship between Checo and Charles. I think they are within 4 points of each other now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Charles must love that.
Yeah. So honestly, I think Charles might have rather seen Max win today than Checo at this point. Carlos looked depressed on the podium. They
Mhm.
handed him his third place trophy, and this was him.
Well, I guess he did pee in his suit, so I'm
Did
sure
he?
yeah, he said it on the something that he peed in a suit. So
Uh
he's probably just uncomfortable, which I would be too.
okay. All right. I didn't know that. I'll let it slide then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Um
Yeah, but Hamilton was getting really annoyed with him this whole race. I feel like there's three separate times on the radio where Hamilton went on just bitching about signs.
yeah, I mean Sainz was pretty slow today, and like we said, it's hard to
Mhm.
pass here. So if you're stuck behind a slow car that's like fast enough to keep you behind, it's gotta suck.
Yeah, I'd be so annoyed.
We could talk about Mercedes real quick. Both
Mhm.
drivers drove below their standard this weekend,
Yeah.
I think. So
Yeah, and it was hard because it wasn't really the car necessarily. It was just I don't know. I mean, yeah, the track was slippery and I don't know. George, his qualifying wasn't that great. I mean, it was like 0.006 seconds from getting
mhm.
into Q3. So that's devastating. But then even translating it into the race, I don't think he was doing too much. I mean, he still hadn't moved up that far by halfway through the grid or by halfway through the race. And then when he switched to the slicks really early, he just seemed like he was chilling in the back, like a whole minute behind everyone else, and never really
Yeah.
seemed to catch up. So
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough track to overtake on when Max, only started in seventh and still like just could not get through the field. Where normally on a normal racetrack, he would have been second after like 5 laps. So I don't think we could have expected George to do much with what he had, but definitely his race went worst case scenario.
yeah. And then it sucked for Hamilton too, because he ended up hitting the wall, which also super impressed he was still able to drive after that because I
Yeah.
thought he was going to be out.
Hmm.
But even still, he just was barely in points. So a tough race for him because he started in third. So sucks to
Yeah.
see you drop that far low.
Also, Max Verstappen is just the biggest snitch on the grid. Multiple times with multiple drivers today, he's like, "Look at his wing on the radio." Yeah, his front left wing is hanging off. He should be getting the black and orange. And then Christian's like, "All right, Max, copy. We're looking into it." All right, guys, come on, run your own race. Does it really matter?
That's like that is classic Red Bull though. They're a bunch of tattletales. They are like the kid in high school who's like, "Excuse me, sir, we had homework today," when it's like end of class and the teacher hasn't asked for it yet. That is you have to have that personality to be part of the team.
Ton of DNFs.
Ton of DNFs.
Ton of DNFs.
For Zhou. Justice for Zhou. This was his family was there for his race in Singapore, and flipping Latifi just comes out and like
I don't understand what happened there. It was a right-hand turn and Latifi just smashed him on the left. Where was he going?
That is a cool. I feel like that's the question everyone has right now is what was Latifi doing? And I don't even think Latifi knows. So I would have been more upset if Latifi stayed out and like was able to still finish the race, but similar to how it was when he had knocked Bottas out and on Bottas's birthday. I don't remember what race that was. That was a couple races ago. But he just like slipped, swerved, cut him off, and then kept going. So I was at least glad to see him out so he didn't screw it up for anyone else. But it sucks. I was sad to see.
This was a quick episode. I think we're kind of running out of things to talk about, and we
just have Haas.
Yeah, we just have Haas, and we just got our 10-minute timer because Zoom's trying to kick us out.
I can't believe how fast this episode or this recording has gone. But really, like, and I don't remember if we said this on camera or off camera, but this has been one of the most boring street races I've ever watched, and this is one of my favorite tracks. And I know it's one of your favorite tracks too.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Like stuff was happening. So I think what it was is the stuff that was happening was not overtaking and racing, and it was just people hitting the wall because of the rain.
There's just so many yellow flags, and then also the race was delayed an hour because it was wet, which is like that's again what tires are for. But anywho, yeah, pretty boring for being one of the better tracks on the grid.
Big weekend if you're a race strategy or pit strategy enthusiast.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, Haas. They both had decent qualifyings. Mag made it into Q3. Mick was close to Q3, but made it into Q2. And Mick was holding it up with Danny Rick and the 10-11 spot for like half of the race until he pitted after Magnussen and got behind Gasly and then just could never pass anyone. Oh, and then he got clipped. So.
Yep. I guess I can just go ahead and say I think Mick will be out of F1 next year.
No.
Do you think Williams is going to pick him over Logan Sargeant, who's kind of their own guy?
I mean, I think they should because I don't think Logan Sargeant should be in F1 yet.
I don't know if that's what I asked.
I think if they want someone with experience and some wisdom and age to them, they should pick Mick.
He's like 24.
He's 23.
He's younger. Oh my god, he's younger than us. Like a lot.
Yeah, Logan's. I know. He's like a child. And then Logan Sargent's like maybe 20, 21, I think. I think he just turned 21. But he's been driving a lot less. And like, so what, he had a decent rookie year. So did Stroll. I don't know. Like,
no, I get it.
I don't know. I think I think it would be another, again, like, and I've said this before, I think it would be another situation like Tsunoda where you put in a guy because he had a decent season his first rookie year, and then you throw him into an F1 car with very little F1 car experience, even like on the simulator. And then he's just causing collisions, hitting walls like Tsunoda did today, which I do feel really bad. And he was visibly upset about it. But yeah, I think it would be mass, and I think it's risky, and I don't think they should take that risk. So I don't know. Also, I think Mick and Albon together would be such a fun duo.
It'd be the most passive driving duo of all time. Actually, no, Albon's kind of aggressive on the track. Yeah.
Albon's solid. He just needs a
Yeah,
better
yeah.
car. So
Something I was thinking about. I've thought about this
mhm.
often, but I've just always forgotten to bring it up. Have you ever seen a show called The Boys or heard of The Boys?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched
So
it.
it's like generally the gist is what if superheroes were bad, right? And
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. I won't watch it
so
because it's scary. So
it's not super scary, but there's
it's
a character in the show named Homelander who's essentially just bad Superman, like evil Superman, and he
okay.
has a son. And for some reason, when I see his son on screen, all I can think about is Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, I see
He
it.
looks he looks like I not identical, but he looks so much like him.
Like if Mick put on a brown haired wig.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so crazy.
Well, it's a good thing to know that there's options out there if Mick is out of a
You can
job
go into
next year.
acting.
Go into acting, play a 7-year-old boy.
I mean, Mick does have like some connection to Mercedes. Mercedes, his dad was a Mercedes driver, and so Williams is a Mercedes. So like I could see it happening, especially if Vettel love this train. I
That
love
one
his.
was loud. That one was loud. It was like extra.
It was like, oh, you're almost done. Um,
Yeah.
but I think Vettel probably gave Mick some insight on Ferrari, and then also just with how Ferrari's been with Charles and Carlos. I'm sure Vettel's probably given him some steer and direction to get out of that Ferrari sphere, at least for the time being. So this is his opportunity to move more towards the Mercedes side of things. I don't know. I think it's not. I don't think it's out of the question. Also, I really don't think. I mean, Williams's option is Mick and Logan, and Haas's options are Mick and Hulkenberg, because I don't think Danny's taken Haas's offer. So I don't know. What do the people think? What are we thinking here? What do we want
I
to see?
I can tell you what Juan thinks. He has a question. When Sebastian Vettel offers advice on his
Mhm,
career to Mick Schumacher, does
mhm.
Sebastian Vettel realize that he is Sebastian Vettel and Mick is Mick?
Is Mick.
Because Seb is really good and Mick is not quite.
I mean, yeah, Seb is one of the greats, right? Like Seb is a four-time world champion. He was
Yeah.
unreal. I mean, he's up there with the greats like Michael and Lewis and
Mm-hmm.
Max. He's up there. Mick, he's coming along. He had a great F2 season, his second season. He won the championship in F2. That's something. Not many people do that because it's one a year. So it's
I've been
it's
trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But
I'm still
yeah.
we'll
Well,
see. I mean, we still have the rest of the season. We have Japan before we get time cut off. We have Japan next weekend. So we'll have a race recap on Tuesdays. If you didn't see our post on social media, one, go follow us at Break Check F1. Two, we will be posting all episodes moving forward on Tuesdays just to allow us some time to record and edit, just given the time difference that we now have. 6 hours is a decent time difference now.
mhm.
So but yeah, so we have Japanese Grand Prix. Do you have any predictions?
um, I think Max clinches the championship there.
Yeah, I think Lewis on podium. I think Tsunoda in points for his home race.
Oh, that would be really cool. That would be
That would be
great.
really cool.
Yeah. I think Alonso will mix it up in there too.
Hmm. I could see that.
Yeah, no, this was a weird race, weird, not weird episode, short episode. Hmm. Oh, I got my
Hmm.
Mercedes merch. I didn't wear it today because it was a little
Okay.
chilly in the apartment this morning, so
Mm.
I put on my hoodie or my jumper, as our UK friends
Jumper. Yep.
call it. Yeah, I put on my jumper. I have slippers now. These are the
Oh,
coziest
fun.
coziest thing I've ever worn. I've never had slippers before.
You've never
Um,
owned slippers?
no.
Mm.
I'll make sure to grab a screenshot of that. But yeah, no, I think we can probably wrap it up here.
Thanks.
Wow.
Oh, train's coming in again. Thanks for listening. Tune in next weekend for the Japanese Grand Prix. Follow us on social media at Break Check F1. We're posting clips and things, so go check it out.
See ya.